legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. I got inspired to do this video today. There's one of our new legends. His name is Baker Cyclist. He asked a question. He said, if I'm spinning, how do I build strength? I worked out that I put a better Strava segment at 70 RPM than I did at 95. So I replied, I said, I thanked him for stopping by the channel. And I just said, you build strength by spinning a larger gear. And then I gave him the link to the pedaling playlist, because obviously he hadn't looked through those, that he could kind of get caught up. But I decided to follow up that answer with this video because I felt like this is something people get mixed up all the time. Every time people hear the word spinning, the first thing that comes to mind is a small gear. Why is that? The reason is, it's easy to spin a small gear. Spinning a big gear, you got to work at it. So spinning does not equal small gear. And those of you who have caught up on the pedaling playlist know what I mean. Just because somebody say spinners are winners doesn't mean the person's spinning a little gear. They're spinning whatever gear they're riding. They're not bogging down in the gear. So the example, Baker Cyclist is saying that his Strava segment, he did better at 70 RPM than at 95. I don't even need to know which gear he's in. Riding at 70 RPMs, yeah, you did a faster Strava segment for that time, but you could do a lot better in a slightly lower gear at 85 or even 90. It's just more efficient. That's not the best use of your muscles at 70. There's a tendency for your muscles to tighten up even more. You're not as fluid when you go below 75 RPMs. So now I'll translate that. You're doing a Strava segment that worked for you. Try to do that in a fast group ride. You will be dropped. 70 RPMs, you can't keep up with changes in speed. That's where your 95 would be better. So that's how you got to kind of think about it. So if you're doing a segment at 70, your time was better. If you drop the gear and increase the cadence, you could beat that time more comfortably. So let me come back to what I'm trying to do in this video here. So when you're working on spinning, he said, how do I build power? Well, he said strength. How do I build strength? But I want to quantify the difference between your strength versus power. I talked about it in the force versus velocity video that I made a while back. But really, if you want to build strength, then you need to use a big gear at a low cadence. So let's say 50 to 70 range. That builds strength. That does not build power. He's talking about strength. But power is more important if you're reacting to changes in speed. Power comes from using high cadences in the gears that you ride. Because power comes from the velocity. How quickly you turn the gear, that gives you power. Strength is like a diesel truck pulling away from a light. That's torque. Okay? It does not give you velocity. So if you're working on just being able to muscle a heavy gear to build your strength for short reps, yeah, you can do that. But for everyday riding or to improve your time, like your Strava segment he was talking about, you need to build power, not just strength. You can work on strength, but then take that strength and add velocity by increasing the cadence. So whatever gear you're going to ride, spin it. Do the work. It's easy to spin a small gear. That's why everybody drops to a lower gear and then they start spinning. But you need to do the work by getting into a larger gear and spinning it too. And build up your ability to maintain high cadences in those larger gears. So for example, an 84-inch gear, a 5317 is a common everyday gear. If you can spin that gear at 100 RPMs, you're doing 40 kilometers an hour on a flat road in reasonable conditions. So you can carry more speed with less effort if you improve your ability to handle high cadences. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So for those of you who are confused about spinning, meaning, oh, I just want to go in a little gear. No, spin whatever gear you're going to ride. You use the little gears to build the neuromuscular pathways so your brain and your body can learn how to handle those cadences. And then periodically you got to get into larger gears and get to those same cadences. Whatever gear you ride, you need to be able to spin it. So you need to periodically do heavy gears with low cadences to build your strength, but then you take that strength and go into reasonably sized gears and increase the cadence. It's hard work. That's why everybody goes to little gears when they think about spinning. It's not easy spinning a big gear, but that's what separates the men from the boys. You want to get fast, you got to be able to spin whatever gears you ride. So I just want to go ahead and wrap it up. Just to say that I want to thank Baker Cyclist for posing a question. The question was very reasonable. The question was something that I felt warranted a video to explain, because I think that most people get it confused, thinking about spinning equating to a little gear. Spin whatever gear you're going to ride. And if you can't handle the gear, then you need to do the necessary work to be able to get that gear up to the cadence that you want to go to. You want to increase your cadence in whatever gear you ride. You want to ride in the largest gear that you can handle at the cadence you want to ride at. Keep your cadence high, because it's just biomechanically more efficient than spinning at 70 RPMs, because your muscles will tighten up and you will build more lactate and other byproducts at high efforts. You just can't sustain it as efficiently. That's the only downside. You may think that, oh yeah, I'm more comfortable at 70, but that's because probably that's all you've been riding. You got to teach your body new things. It all depends on your goal. I mean, if you're trying to go with a faster group or trying to better your time, you got to increase your cadence. High cadences enable you to go faster on the bicycle, period, with a lot less mechanical effort. Okay, so with that, you keep your miles coming in and don't let anything stop.